Indiana needed a response after one of the toughest losses of the young WNBA season. Just 2 days earlier, the Fever had suffered a heartbreaking overtime defeat against the Washington Mystics, a game where Caitlin Clark drilled a game-tying three with less than 2 seconds remaining, only for Indiana to fall short moments later. Returning home with a 1-2 record, the Fever desperately needed a win, and the atmosphere inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse reflected that urgency. But Indiana faced another major challenge before the game even started. Aaliyah Boston was ruled out with a lower leg injury, ending a streak of 275 consecutive games played dating all the way back to her college career at South Carolina. It was the first professional game she had ever missed, and her absence left a huge hole in the Fever lineup. Meanwhile, Seattle arrived in Indianapolis dealing with problems of its own. The Storm were already shorthanded without Dominique Malona and Easy Magbegor, leaving rookie sensation Flau'jae Johnson as the primary offensive option. Johnson had quickly become one of the most talked about young players in the league, and Seattle needed her to deliver another big performance to stay competitive. There was also another storyline hanging over this matchup. Stephanie Dolson was back in Indianapolis, now wearing a Seattle jersey after joining the Storm in the offseason. Fever fans still remembered the controversial hard foul she committed against Caitlin Clark during a game the previous season, a play that sparked major reactions across the basketball world. Clark had played through it then, and now she had another opportunity to face Dolson on her home court. From the opening tip, Indiana looked determined to make a statement. Caitlin Clark immediately set the tone by finding Kelsey Mitchell cutting to the basket for an easy layup. On the next few possessions, Clark continued carving up Seattle's defense with perfect reads and sharp passing. Indiana played fast, aggressive basketball, and Seattle struggled to keep up. Then came the run that completely changed the game. The Fever exploded on a massive scoring streak that blew the doors open early. Clark buried a deep three-pointer from well beyond the arc. Sophie Cunningham attacked the rim for back-to-back scores, including a reverse layup through contact for an and one. Indiana's defense forced turnovers, converted in transition, and pushed the pace every chance they got. Before Seattle could settle in, Indiana had built a huge lead and completely taken control of the game. Clark was at the center of everything. She wasn't forcing shots or hunting stats. Instead, she controlled the game with patience and intelligence, finding open teammates, attacking gaps in the defense, and making every possession feel organized and dangerous. By halftime, Clark already had 17 points and 6 assists, while Indiana held a comfortable lead. Even without Boston, the Fever looked sharper, faster, and more connected than they had all season. Seattle tried to respond in the third quarter, but Indiana never allowed the momentum to shift. Kelsey Mitchell continued cutting through the defense for easy baskets, while Clark contributed in every possible way. She grabbed rebounds, rotated defensively, and kept the ball moving with precision. Even during stretches when she wasn't scoring, her impact on the game was obvious. For Seattle, rookie Flau'jae Johnson showed exactly why so many people believe she has superstar potential. She fought on every possession, knocked down difficult shots, attacked the basket fearlessly, and protected the rim with several impressive blocks. Despite the Storm being undermanned, Johnson refused to back down and kept competing until the final whistle. Still, Indiana simply had too much firepower. The Fever eventually slammed the door shut late in the third quarter. Clark delivered a perfect skip pass to Mitchell for a deep three-pointer that pushed the lead back to double digits and completely drained any remaining hope Seattle had of a comeback. By the start of the fourth quarter, the game was essentially over. Indiana's bench unit handled the final minutes comfortably while Stephanie White wisely managed player minutes ahead of the Fever's next matchup. Sophie Cunningham continued her excellent performance off the bench, knocking down shots and attacking aggressively. The Fever continued dominating inside, controlling the paint and overwhelming Seattle's thin frontcourt rotation. Seattle had a few bright moments late, including some strong shooting from Erica Wheeler and Sammy Whitcomb, but the outcome was never seriously in doubt. When the final buzzer sounded, Indiana walked away with an 89-78 victory and its first home win of the 2026 season. And once again, Caitlin Clark made history. Clark finished the night with 21 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. More importantly, she recorded her 11th career game with at least 20 points and 10 assists, the most in WNBA history. At just 24 years old and only in her third professional season, Clark had already surpassed legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Cheryl Swoops in that category. It was another reminder that what Clark is doing this early in her career is unprecedented. Without Aaliyah Boston, many expected Indiana to struggle. Instead, Clark elevated the entire team and delivered one of the Fever's most complete performances of the season. That's what separates great players from transcendent ones, the ability to completely change the level of a team regardless of the circumstances around them. Kelsey Mitchell added 17 points and played one of her most efficient games of the season. Sophie Cunningham also scored 17 off the bench and provided huge energy throughout the night. Natasha Howard and Tiffany Mitchell filled their roles perfectly, while Indiana's defense controlled the paint from start to finish. The Fever outscored Seattle 50-30 inside, a massive advantage that exposed how much the Storm missed their injured frontcourt players. For Seattle, Flau'jae Johnson continued to impress with her toughness and versatility, finishing with 14 points and 4 blocks in another encouraging performance for the rookie. The Storm fought hard, but without their full lineup, they simply couldn't match Indiana's depth or offensive firepower. As for Stephanie Dolson, she played a physical game as expected, but this time there was no controversy. Caitlin Clark walked off the floor healthy, victorious, and holding yet another WNBA record. Now the Fever sit at 2-2 on the season with momentum finally starting to build. Aaliyah Boston remains day-to-day, and Indiana will look to carry this energy into its next home matchup against Portland. For the first time this season, Gainbridge Fieldhouse had a chance to celebrate. And once again, Caitlin Clark gave the crowd a night they won't forget.